Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back.
Welcome to the Heat versus the World podcast.
Taking
And now,
behind my back.
stand up and make some noise for your host, Joel Jacob.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Heat vs. the World podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joel Jacob, and with me, I got my guy, Alex. We should be joined by someone else very soon. Hopefully, they'll be able to pull up in a couple minutes. But before we get into all that, let's talk about the Miami Heat real quick, because I know a lot of people are kind of stressed out right now because the Heat lost another game, and I'm on Twitter, man. I see what the stuff y'all be saying. I be seeing all of it. It's because of that reason I prefer to stay off Twitter whenever the Heat lose a game, because I don't like being on there and seeing 50 people saying that we need to trade Jimmy, and basically rebuild the whole team. So my apologies if I missed some of the stuff that was mentioned on Twitter after this game, but overall, I'm not too stressed about it. I can't say the same for a lot of y'all. I do think Draymond should have been ejected after what happened I'm saying previous game, but basically what we saw happened that game. Y'all know what I'm talking about. This dude literally clotheslines Patty Mills, and I don't know, it was a whole thing with that. He didn't get ejected. We ended up losing 2 points though, because they were like, okay, well, Bam made this bucket after the foul took place. So all of that goes down. And then hilariously enough, this dude does get ejected the following night against Orlando. It wasn't the best of nights, but also should be acknowledged that Jimmy was out for this game. So obviously things weren't going to look sweet for us. Tyler was out another game, but, it's his 36th missed game. Same amount of games he's played so far, same amount of games he's missed. 36 games played, 36 games out. Like, ain't no other way to put it, but that happened too. Duncan was unfortunately out for this game. He was in practice though today, so take that as you will. He will be missing tomorrow's game against Portland. Overall, it was just not an ideal game for us. And I don't want to say too much bad things, because at the end of the day, we blew out the Cavs by 40 points just a couple nights before that. And I don't think people want to acknowledge that enough, because we were able to do it. And, look at a team like Boston. They literally blew a 30-point lead against the Hawks a couple nights before that. Well, not a couple nights. I think like literally the day after we beat the Cavs. So, if they can't even do it against the Hawks, but we're able to go out there and beat the brakes off of the Cavs, I don't care if Donovan Mitchell was playing for them or not. That right there tells me that this team still has it. And it's statement wins like that you see this team get here and there, that's able to help you be confident in the squad. And that's why I'm not ready to, completely panic with the squad just yet. And, I know some people are looking at this team, they're like, oh, well, they're not able to do what they did in 2023. That was lightning in a bottle. That was all luck. But I just feel like people need to come to the conclusion that the Miami Heat is just weird. All right. They're not like the teams that you see out there where they have an incredible regular season and then they follow it up with, an incredible postseason too. They've kind of taken a page from their leader. And I've said it in the past, in a guy like Jimmy. Jimmy trolls in the regular season, but then he turns it up in the postseason. And I think all these players done seen that, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing. Let's troll through this regular season, and then let's turn it up come playoff time. And I don't know, maybe it's just me being too optimistic. I know some Heat fans don't like that, but I don't know. That's just been my thought process behind the whole thing. Y'all can make fun of me if, God forbid, something bad happens down the road come playoff time. But overall, I'm in a good mood with this squad regardless, and I want to know how y'all feel. We'll start off with you, Alex.
Hey man, as you can see under my name, I got 2023 on repeat because of the fact that like a lot of things that are going on this year were stuff that we dealt with last year. But still, with that being said, like I was saying earlier before we even started recording, like the team has earned grace from me because of the fact of what they did in the playoffs last year. Like winning that play-in game when it was looking rough until the last 3 minutes of it, and then basically going ahead and taking care of business and making it all the way to the finals. So I mean, we've seen it done. It just would be a whole lot tougher this year. I feel like because we wouldn't be sneaking up on anybody. Everybody has on high alert for the Miami Heat coming into town and seeing us in the series.
Right. Okay, how about you, man?
I mean, I pretty much feel the same. I've kind of been harping on what I call elements for the last few weeks. And they're all there. They've shown that they're able to get it out of their guys when they need to. The defense on the rope, they're shooting from Duncan, Jimmy Butler going nuclear, contributions from all over. I just feel like they got to put it together when the playoffs start, and more often than not, they have. So I have no other reason to believe that they can't. We watch this panic every year, specifically for the last 2 or 3 years, and like said, more often than not, it's turned out, in the Heat's favor. So if the elements weren't there, like if Duncan hadn't showed that he's shooting is right, if Jimmy hadn't showed that he could still take over, if Bam hadn't showed that he could get in his bag and be an offensive force, if Terry hadn't showed that he could go nuclear, if they hadn't showed us all these things, then I'd be concerned. But they've shown us all of these things, and I just trust this folk and put it together when it mattered the most.
Right. And I just want to say, like, I mean, if you're a Heat fan, one thing that I feel like a lot of people got to acknowledge, specifically those who are panicking, the Heat going back to the finals is not exactly a far-fetched thing as a lot of people might make it seem. Because at the end of the day, and I was saying this before we started recording, like, there's only what's what I'm looking for? One team in the whole Eastern Conference you can say that should concern the Heat, and that's the Celtics. I'm not scared of Milwaukee. I just don't want to play them and eliminate them simply because Dame's been through enough being in that hellhole of a city. So, Dame, I just want to apologize if that does end up being the scenario. Blame the NBA for doing you like that and setting the bracket up in against your favor like that. So, but to take it this way, at least we're putting you out of your misery. And hopefully they'll be able to send you out of that city and away from that corny Greek loser. But then you also have the fact that, I'm not scared of Cleveland. I know a lot of people talk about Orlando, and they're a good team. I think, they're capable of putting up a dogfight, but I'm not looking at them thinking, okay, this is
Too young.
Yeah, exactly. They're too young. They don't have that experience. I know they brought in Joe Ingles to like help them out, but there's only so much he can do at this point of his career. But I mean, there's not really much threats out there. It's really Miami and Boston, and it's been that way for so long now. I mean, I said it was like this the second the Bucks went and got Doc Rivers because they basically shot themselves in the foot the second they made that official. Because what is Doc Rivers gonna do for the Bucks? I just want to know. The only thing I pray for is that he can get this 3-0 lead blown so that I never have to worry about my team ever potentially making history again down the road. Like that will have been done by Doc Rivers, and rightfully so, and I can live my life without being in fear whatsoever. So Doc, I don't know
So
how
you
long.
don't want the Heat to even have the opportunity to be the first team to do that no more, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like I don't know, and I don't. Hopefully, I've never seen the Heat blow a 3-1 lead, and God willing, I never have to see them blow a 3-0 lead. But I want someone to break that record, put that in the record books for their team, so that I never got to worry about the Heat being in that situation because I was going through traumatic PTSD last year with the way how everything was going. So, Doc, a team was dumb enough to give you a chance to hire you again. Please take full advantage of that and blow a 3-0 lead for me. I never thought I'd see you in the league again. I thought all these teams learned their lessons with you. Clearly, the Bucks didn't from what they saw you do with the other teams. So just take advantage of that. Let them be the first team to blow a 3-0 lead. Let me see Giannis hop on the podium with another steps to success speech. And let's go from there. Everybody wins. Giannis will get a few M's from another.
There's no such thing as failure. There is no
Exactly.
such thing as failure.
Exactly. Because, Giannis will get another few M's from another one of these pathetic speeches of his. Because, Nike loves doing these little press runs with this stuff. And then you got what's it? Dame potentially leaving. I don't know, because y'all know that man been depressed the second he been there, talking about he feel
Joel
lonely.
on fire today.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, I'm just saying because
It's been a while.
everyone, yeah, it's been some time. And I just gotta say, like, everyone coming after the Heat, but like, we can't sit here and act like these teams are perfect right now, because the alleged championship contenders right now, they ain't looking too good themselves. So y'all want to come after Miami, but look at these other teams too. Like, it's really Heat in Boston. Like I mentioned, they blew a 30-point lead to the Hawks, bro. To the Hawks. And I understand we lost to them earlier in the season, but we never blew a 30-point lead to them. Okay. I don't want to hear nothing about it, because all I've heard from what's it called? Celtics fans is, oh, Bam hit a game winner against the Pistons. This is the team we're supposed to be scared about, and y'all couldn't keep a 30-point lead against the Hawks. So what's the talk now? What's the story now from y'all? Like, we don't give a freak about nothing, man. And I just want to say to all y'all that's out there, and I said this in the pod we did a few weeks ago, y'all talking about save Jimmy this, save Jimmy that. Stay on that side, because I done heard everything y'all was saying about Jimmy. We don't give a freak about none of y'all. All right, we're trying to go win a championship, and y'all can go freak off somewhere else. Okay, go try to ride Giannis and Dame. Go try to ride one of these other guys. Do not ride Jimmy, because we've seen the comments. We've seen the way how nasty y'all was acting in 2021 in that Fugazi season, just because he got outscored by Bryn Forbes. We saw the talks y'all was saying because he was out here not having his best games here and there. We saw all of that, but we chose to ignore that and still do our thing. Don't think you can just hop on the bandwagon now, because y'all, God forbid, we get a Celtics championship, all right? I don't want to see that either, but y'all not finna curse my player by making him come out and look like he got to be the savior for y'all. When y'all was out here completely dissing the man, he gonna come out there and he gonna try to help us win a championship. Not because he give a frick about y'all, but simply because he can and he will. Aside from that, Kay, I'm gonna pass the mic to you for this next topic, and it's basically kind of like what I've been talking about, where a lot of people think that the Heat being able to capitalize and go out there and do what they did last year might be a little far-fetched. I want to know, like, I know I've already said a lot about what these other teams look like, but when it comes to what this Miami Heat team is built of, why is it that we should believe like this squad is going to be capable to do what they did last year, and if not, maybe even better than that?
Because playoff basketball in itself, in a nutshell, lends itself so much to the way that the Miami Heat wants to play. Something you've heard a lot over the last couple of years, but you've especially heard a lot about this year. This team hasn't been fun to watch. That's because all year long they're playing playoff style basketball. It may not look good, they may not hit shots, but just naturally the way they play, it's typically how games are going to go in the playoffs. Grind it out, possession by possession. Now you hope that. Here's the thing about it: if you've ever done anything, it's like doing something on a Monday and doing it on a Friday are totally different at your job. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
explain it like this: when you do it on a Monday, it's like I
Yeah,
got 4 more days of it. I got 4 more days of this. It's just like I'm gonna just get it done. But on a Friday at your job, where you like, look, I gotta do this one more time, and then I'm off for the weekend. You about that task is probably about to get most of what you got. Just so you know what I'm saying, because I'm going to the crib after this. So it's just a feeling like when these players are in the playoffs, when you're in the highest moments, a feeling of, I hate to say it, but meaningfulness kicks in that doesn't always find itself present in each and every game of an 82 game regular season. So when you consider all of that, again, back to those elements I spoke about, back to the way that the Miami Heat want to play ball overall, and then the fact that you have situations where the teams are going to switch into a different mode, a playoff mode, for lack of better terms. That's why you should have the faith that this Miami Heat team, once it's all said and done, can still get done what they got done last year, which is a run to the NBA Finals.
I agree, and like I just want to mention real quick, like last year when you look at what some of these guys were able to do, they weren't cooking like that in the early parts of the season. You know, like you look at Caleb Martin being that Eastern Conference killer against the Celtics, and you know some of those shots he was able to hit against the Bucks. You see what guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus did. All of that stuff was taking place, you know, at a time where they were more, what's it called, well equipped and more developed to go out there and do what they were doing, you know, because they wasn't exactly cooking like that every now and then in the regular season, because you had people ready to trade Gabe, trade Max, and basically blow up the whole team even then. Basically no different from what we're seeing this year as of right now. So overall, like it helped to get these players ready, and that's why I'm not too worried about it. And I feel like a good example, like you mentioned a perfect analogy right there, Kay, with it being like how it would be at like work, you know, working the same job like day after day after day. But like it also like what's it called? Karate Kid too. I guess you could probably make a comp to that as well, because you know it's like you get tired doing the same thing over and over again. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but like I think he was like washing cars or whatever. You know, he been out there doing that all this time. So yeah, you know, the wipe or whatever. I think he was paying house.
Wax on, wax
on,
off,
wax
man.
I'm sorry, man.
How old are you? Jesus Christ. Get
I'm
it right.
sorry.
Mr. Miyagi is rolling over in his grave. He about to crane kick you in your chin. Get his right, man. Wax on, wax off, Joel son.
I'm sorry, man, because I was about to say he was doing that and like painting houses and stuff, but like, like you know, wax on, wax off.
He
and,
said
like,
wipe on. I mean, get off. I mean, everything but wax. Brush on, mop off, sweep up. Like, brother, it is wax on, wax off. Because consistency is key, brother. That's the point.
Right, exactly. Because you know what? He thought it was pointless, but then when it was time for him to put it to work, like the dude was cooking, he was beating up everyone. So that's kind of the same thing with these guys,
I
you
see
know?
what you're doing. What you're saying is no matter how the Heat look, when the playoffs start, they're going to crane kick it out of everybody. Because they
Yes.
done it 1,000 times. So even if they're doing it on one leg, you can put the sweatband. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even if they're doing it on one leg, they're still going to be able to crane kick people in their chins. I get it now. I get
Exactly. Because, like, who would have thought Caleb Martin was going to do this stuff? You know, who even guys like Gabe Vincent, I don't want to talk about him too much because obviously they're not on the team no more. But, Kate, we was in war with Knicks fans during that space we was on last year. And, like, you saw when people like, oh, y'all talking about Gabe Vincent finna do this. Gabe Vincent finna do that. He did do that, though. He did do
it. But
this.
I
He
think
did it.
I think that goes back to like the whole only us thing. And again, I think that's a cute way of talking about or articulating about the elements. Like, we don't believe this irrationally as Heat fans. We believe it as Heat fans because we've seen it.
Right.
That's the only reason we believe it. Like, seriously, we believe it because we've seen what they can do.
Right.
And that's why, that's half of the reason why it frustrates us so bad in certain moments, because it's like it don't make sense. Like, but we've seen you, like, you should be. So that goes back though to that thing that we're speaking about, that feeling, that meaningfulness, that and it sucks if you're a person that wants them to win every regular season game, but that goes back to that meaningfulness, that passion, that drive, that extra that the playoffs bring, where you're going to get the best versions of everybody else. And back to us having seen it, those elements, we just believe that we're going to get more of that than more of the letdown. So no, you're 100% right. And that's that thing where, like, that's why, but, you know, last year, but Gabe Vincent, but Max Strus, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying this year, but Duncan Robinson, but Bam Adebayo. And most importantly for me, I would say out of all of that, they've shown you the ability to flat out lock people up on defense.
Yep. Like, I just want to say, Haywood Highsmith, he's been cooking lately, you know. I don't know exactly how much minutes we can expect him to get come playoff time. This might be a situational type guy, but I have faith in the fact that he will be ready, you know. That's the guy you can put on that could get clamps, and he could also be a solid 3-and-D guy if God is willing. I know sometimes he might be a little streaky with it, but clearly that hasn't been the case these last couple of games, and you couldn't ask for it to be any better for him because there was a time where he was essentially out the rotation too this season, but he's now back in it and he's now playing key minutes. And he didn't miss a single shot in that game against Cleveland. And he was almost perfect, I believe, in this game against Golden State, even though it was in a losing effort. Like, this is another guy that should be well equipped come playoff time whenever his number is called. So overall, like, wax on, wax off. Everyone's doing what's needed from them to do, and like, we're gonna be able to get it done this year. And it gets to a point where you got people talking about, oh well, Jimmy out here getting carried by role players come playoff time. Mind you, they didn't even know what these role players' name was, going into the playoffs and stuff. And it's funny because that's always been the type of guy Jimmy is. Like, he has no problem letting these other guys do the other work as long as it means that we can get that championship. People talk about, the whole scuffle that went down back when he was in Minnesota in practice, right? If you look at the stat sheet for that game, Jimmy wasn't even like the third best scorer for the team of the third stringers. Like, that just shows how he's that guy to go out there and get these other people going, because I don't know what the stat sheet was, but he was not the leading scorer. He was not top three. He was getting these other guys going, and even though he wasn't even leading the team in scoring as they were beating the starters, he was still talking his talk, and that's what we need from him. Being able to go out there and get these other guys going. Because I know it pisses people off. You got people saying, oh, he's too passive in the regular season. He's not doing enough. Oh, if he did this and that, we'd win more games. We'd be higher up in the standings. I understand it's frustrating. But when Gabe Vincent is out there doing what he usually, I'm sorry, man. I guess I'm still kind of living in 2023. When who is it? When Terry Rozier is cooking, when Tyler Hero is coming off the bench doing his thing, and then when all these other guys are out there doing their thing too, Duncan, Caleb, like what he did last year. When all of those guys are cooking and doing their thing, that's pissing all these other people off, talking about, oh, Jimmy's having these role players carry him, acting like Jason Tatum isn't being carried right now by 4 other alleged All-Stars, since Boston thinks everyone on that roster should have made the All-Star team this year. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care who carries this team, all right? For all I'm concerned, Caron Butler could come out of retirement and drop 15 points a game for the Heat. Okay, if y'all want to say he carried Jimmy to the ring, I don't care. Just give me the Larry O'Brien trophy so I can continue with the rest of my life. Aside from that, I know I've been hogging the mic too much. Alex, what's your take?
So in regards to obviously, like I said before, and if you watching the pod, you can see under my name it says 2023 on repeat. If you're listening and you just heard me say it, but I did a little bit of research on the team for this year versus last year. So through 72 games last year, we were 38-34. So this year we're 1 game better. And through this date or whatever, like I said earlier, the season. Well, I said it to Joel earlier. The season this year started a little bit later for us, or whatever. It's gonna go a little bit longer. Through this date last year, we were 40-36. So we still got a chance to end up with a better record than we had last year.
Right.
We got 10 games left, 4 of them versus East teams that are going to be in the playoff hunt or in the play-in hunt. We got the Knicks, 76ers, Pacers, which is going to be a huge one, and the Hawks coming up. So, like, if we take care of business in all those, I honestly think we could get to the 6th seed. My logic, which is kind of sort of what everybody has been saying, is somewhat to avoid Boston for as long as possible. Hopefully somebody else could take them out. Hopefully they could go through some stuff in the first 2 rounds and be butting heads or whatever, be off their rockers a little bit heading into the Eastern Conference Finals. But all that being said, like we've been harping on, like, The Heat, yeah, they've been frustrating the crap out of us all year this year, but we are definitely a deeper, more talented team than we were last year. And with that being said, we saw what we did last year. We
Exactly.
saw we saw guys who had been bricking all year hit shots. Now we
Mhm.
got guys like Duncan who this year has been hitting shots. Now we got a Terry Rozier who obviously he isn't the defender that Gabe Vincent was, but he can go get a bucket. Um, Caleb Martin, obviously, he's had a little bit of a rough stretch so far in the last few games, but we know what he can do. He should have honestly won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Then we got Jaime Jaquez, who he had a great start, hit the rookie wall once he got injured, but like his game fits being able to have moments in the playoffs. And then obviously Kevin Love, who's had a huge resurgence this year. So I know we're not going to sneak up on any teams, but we still have the formula to be able to get into the playoffs, make noise, and to scare some people, and hopefully get to that finals and then take care of business this year, man.
Right. And you mentioned one thing in your take, Alex, and it's the fact that we got 10 games left. Obviously, some games aren't going to be as easy as what others might be perceived to be. And it's funny because we had our whole prediction thing. I think it was the last episode. We predicted the Heat to go, what was it, 10-4, I believe. We're one game off right now because obviously we had them beating the Pelicans, and it didn't exactly happen, obviously. So do we by the way, you are on mute, by the way, Kay. If you can connect to your AirPods. I can't hear anything right now. Okay, wait, can you hear him, Alex? I just want to make sure I ain't tripping.
Nah, I can't hear him. If he is,
I-
when he was saying stuff, I couldn't hear him either.
Alright, so Kay, if
We
you
get
can
that handled.
quickly reconnect, I'll get everyone caught up with what our predictions was basically. So basically we had the Heat going 10-4. I think the losses we had them getting was, I know one of them was against a team and we were trying to be fair with it, trying to see what the losses would probably be against like the likeliest teams. So we had one loss against who was it? The Pacers, because why not? Hopefully we don't lose that because that game is gonna have some huge implications when that comes around. Another game was, I think we said the Golden State game was gonna be a loss. Kay, can you nod your head if we predicted that? Okay, so I'm sorry, Kay. Just if you can, either get like a whiteboard or something, if you can write your takes on there. Either that or try to reconnect real quick if you can. um, but yeah, we had the game against, I think, Golden State, Indiana were two losses, and I think we said Philly and that would be a third one, and then potentially maybe New York. So that's four losses that we had predicted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Word.
So, those were the teams we predicted the four losses with. So as long as you can get someone to, I guess, fill in for that loss against the Pelicans, we should be good to go. How do y'all feel about potential 8-2 record for these final 10 games?
To be totally honest, I wrote down, I think that they'll go 7-3 in the last 10. Ones I'm looking at as possible losses are New York, which I mean, when it comes down to a playoff series, obviously I got us over New York, but
Right.
I mean they in a one game during the season they could get us. Houston, because of the fact that they've been rolling right now.
Oh my gosh! You know what?
And
I forgot about that. Ever since that lady made him a dad, I don't know.
Jalen Green,
shout out to congrats,
snapping.
But that lady almost doubled his age. That was crazy to look at. But that's not the point. We here to talk.
That boy know he got more mouths to feed, man. He trying to get that next deal, secure the bag.
Right.
Yeah, especially his future what is it, stepson? That's his age. So but yeah, we're not here to talk about that. Continue, Ali.
And yeah, the last loss in the ideal situation of going 7-3 I had would be to Dallas because of the fact that I mean Luca and Kyrie they on a different type of time right now, dog. Like I've been telling people, I ain't never seen Kyrie playing as free as he is right now. Like he's having it's obvious that he's having the most fun he's ever had in the league. I mean, he I think this the most he done dunked in his career, and he got like 4 dunks this past month. Like they having too much fun down in Dallas, so that was one that I looked at as a possible loss. But I mean, I'm
You know,
hoping.
and
Go ahead.
I think that was one of the games we predicted as a loss.
Mm,
So I think that because I remember that's the second night of a back to back, I believe. So like I think that was the game we
it
called.
is.
I was wrong with one of the 3 L's I called earlier. So I don't know which one I was mistaken for. Maybe it was the Indiana game, but yeah, that Dallas game I do have my concerns about with that being on the second night of a back to back.
So yeah, only I mean I know the Western Conference is up in the air right now. The only hope that we could have in regards to that one is to be that like Dallas decides to rest Luca and Kyrie because of the fact that they're solidified in whatever spot that they're gonna be in. But like I said, like the West is such a that like it's what is the wild west out there right now. So
Yeah.
anything could possibly happen. So we'll see, man. But yeah, I got 7-3 on it on the best case scenario for us in the last 10.
All right. And how about you, K? 8-2, 7-3. Where do you stand
I'm
right now?
still sticking with the 10-4, man. 8-2 over the last 10.
All right.
I'm looking at that Dallas game still, as we all have been. I still think Dallas is beatable though, man, because they don't play that much defense. But then in Miami Heat's weakness sometimes is their scoring, so it may be iron on iron. And then of course, like everybody else said, that New York Knicks game is tough, but I still think they could beat them as well because they're missing a lot without OG and Julius Randle. And of course, you know, Hart and DiVincenzo, they've been balling. I do think Mitchell Robinson came back last night, so you got him back in the mix. But I mean, I just think that they're beatable as well. So those are the 2 games that most concern me. But even if they flip flop and the Miami Heat win those and lose a couple of more, I think 8-2 to achieve that 10-4 plus record that I was hoping for in the last pod is still what we're aiming towards. I don't see anything that shakes my faith or my confidence, especially with Duncan coming back next week. Especially with, you know, Jimmy Butler being a very reactive guy. He reads the Twitter, sees the news. So he's going to see all of the Jazz that's been talking, make sure he at least come and ball out for these next 2 games. Like on some Jimmy Butler takeover type stuff. That's typically how he has responded. So I feel as though he's going to see that and come back, and that should give Duncan time enough to get back into the lineup. I'm sure we all saw the reports today with Tyler Heroes ramping things back up. So hopefully his presence in the last couple of games helps give him a little boost. You want to see Kevin Love back on the floor, but just everybody starting to get back healthy too. Right at this time, specifically again, Duncan getting back into the lineup as early as next week. So maybe they play one more game without him, and their next game, just looking at the schedule here, is against Portland on Friday before they head to Washington on Sunday. They should be able to handle those 2 teams. And I know people are saying, but they just lost to Washington. That's especially why they're not going to lose to them again. So, you know, I think they'll be fine, man. Still 8-2 prediction.
Right. And, you know, also there is that game against Indiana, which for a second I thought that was the game we called in L. That will be a dogfight, you know, because I think both teams are going to be aware of the implications that are at stake with that 6 seed. So expect that to be a dogfight, because if a situation happens where there is a tiebreaker, obviously you're going to want to potentially have that if you're Miami. So, you know,
but I think the Miami Heat go into that game with that mentality that we've been representing all, you know what I mean, all pod long. Like they're clearly going to be aware of that. So I think that's going to be a playoff game for them.
Right. So overall,
and I'll tell you something else. If the Miami Heat do end up in the play-in situation, they won't play but 1 game. The only way they'll play 2 games, which I don't think will happen, is if they end up in those bottom 2. So it won't be a situation like last year where they have to go into the second game to determine whether they. I don't think that'll happen again this year.
So you think, well, so I mean, it's very early right now, but you think we beat Philly basically?
If we went into a play-in, absolutely.
All right.
And
So-
I told you why. Like, I think that bringing Joel back now is going to hurt you a whole lot more than it's going to help you.
Right.
Because here's the thing about Joel. Joel's a superstar, and superstars want to be superstars. Well, you're going to try to play with him like he's 100%. He's not 100%. So that's effectively going to slow the whole entire team's production down. Whereas their thing now is pace, space, and playing through Maxey. Like, that's how they beat you now. They play through him, let him spread it out, get 25, 30 shots a game, and everybody else eat off of the space. Well, they're totally not going to be like that. They're going to be more high post, two-man game, pick and roll when Joel come back, and it's going to be clunky and slow and easy to guard because Joel ain't 100%.
Right. And, you know, that's also fair to acknowledge because we actually do play Philly soon, by the way. So a lot of interesting games for the Heat coming very soon. But overall, man, you know, the Heat going to be ready for it. And it's going to be a fun 10 games. So buckle up. And before we officially wrap this pod up, you know, we do got to talk about this first of 10 games. And that's none other than, as you guys mentioned, Portland. So I'm gonna just come out. And
We can
say
still wrap it up. It ain't nothing to talk about. Wrap it up.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
Listen, man. F Joe Cronin, go get the win and let's go from there. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, don't play with your food, man. Take care of business. Beat the crap out of them young boys, and let the main guys sit during at least halfway through the third, fourth quarter. But even with me saying that, watch is about to be a dog fight. But we gonna win though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about you?
Hey, look, man, I just want to shout out that young guard out there, man. You know, with the funky name and the funky hair. And his name is Delano, not Scoot. Because he been balling out there. Delano Banton has been balling out there in Portland after he was cast aside. I want to say the Celtics drafted him, but that figures. The Celtics let another good one go. I don't know. I know he played for the Celtics, but hold on. Who was he drafted by?
He was drafted by the Raptors last year, actually.
He was drafted by the Raptors?
Well,
okay, I thought, so when did he play for the Celtics? I thought that he played for the Celtics at some point.
This year, and he was on the Raptors last year, I believe.
Okay, absolutely. Yep, you're right. He was drafted by the Raptors, played for the Celtics this year. 6'9" point. He's been balling out there in Portland, so you're gonna have to worry about him. But it's nothing concerning yourself about. And that's if DeAndre Ayton decide he's gonna make it to the arena. I hope there's no ice out there anyway.
I mean, wait, did the groundhog see his shadow? I don't follow up with that stuff. Or,
Did DeAndre Ayton see his shadow?
No,
the groundhog.
That whole thing.
It was supposed to be.
I heard you, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was supposed to be an early spring, but it ain't felt like it.
All right, so good. So we'll have
Hey,
to
brother,
find-
I'm glad that he was wrong. Pump to tuck. You know what I'm saying.
But overall, man,
P-Phil.
Yeah, snow or no snow, man. Be ready for Bam, bro. So overall, bro, go take care of business.
Did you say Kane Ban the Snowman?
Huh?
Did you say Kane Ban the Snowman?
Yo, that kind of could be a nickname. You could put down a T-shirt, no lie. But nah,
brother, how old are you? That's young Jeezy. What's wrong with you, brother? Kane Ban the Snowman, wax on, wax off. What are you gonna tell me next? You don't know what this is? What? I mean, come on, bro. What's up?
My bad, man. I've had a long day, bro. I'm sorry.
You don't know who said that?
I know, man. Okay,
all right. It's okay. I'm gonna give you a pass because I'm gonna give you a pass, bro. Just come on, man. Go ahead.
Thank you. But overall, go handle business. Like you said, Alex, let's not play with our food, man. And let's go 8-2. Hopefully 10-0 if we want to be for real, and try to go win this championship. Why not? Aside from that, man, let's all take a deep breath like usual. The Heat are going to be fine. And let's get ready for this playoffs, man, because we getting very soon to it. And thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's episode of Heat vs. the World. Make sure to follow Alex at _Coach Lewis 1, K at K_Said_K. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at JoelKJacob_, and make sure to follow Heat vs. the World on all platforms at HVTW Podcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to check out all of our content. And man, we got so much heading your way. Let's enjoy this playoff run that's coming soon for the Heat, these final 10 games as well. And yeah, man, like I said before, take it easy, and Jimmy gonna get us there. Aside from that, man, hit my music because we out.
Behind my back.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time with a brand new episode of the Heat vs. the World Podcast.